My girlfriend, who hadn't contacted me in 7 days, suddenly posted on her social media, announcing her engagement. The post included a 9-grid collage of photos, luxury cars, a mansion, 999 fresh-cut red roses, and a line of small text. The heights of a prince, a poor wretch can never reach in a lifetime. I scrolled through them, suppressing my anger. But this mansion wasn't the one I'd left vacant for years. This luxury car wasn't it the limited edition I'd just bought last year? And this groom, why did he look so much like my chauffeur? Staring at the empty chat history, I stubbornly called an X-sign. The phone rang for a long time, but no one answered. Ever since an XIN went home for the new year, I'd barely heard from her. When I called, she always said she was busy with family and told me not to disturb her. She was, however, very prompt in accepting the New Year's red envelope I sent her. Chinyu, has your little girlfriend still not replied to you? Maybe she went home for a blind date. The message was from a childhood friend. We were quite close. Although I knew he was joking, hearing him say that about my girlfriend still angered me. An X-sign isn't like that. She's just really busy at home. If you talk nonsense again, we're done. The person on the other end sent a really? My anger flared up, and I was about to call and scold him, but what he sent next silenced me. It was a screenshot of an XIN social media post. An XIN had shared a photo, the background a sea of festive red. In the photo, she was linking arms with a man, leaning happily on his shoulder. The caption, wedding dates set, awaiting the joyous occasion. Full of joy, heading toward a life together. I was stunned. How could my girlfriend, who was so sweet with me just days ago, suddenly be getting married? I saved the picture, sent it to an XIN, and demanded to know what was going on. This time, an XIN replied quickly, sending me a series of photos. The subjects of the photos were, without exception, her and her fiancé. Afterward, I received a call from an XIN. Before I could speak, an XIN launched her attack. Chinyu, I'm getting engaged. I was young and foolish before. I was just playing around with you. Now we're breaking up completely. Don't contact me again. I sneered and asked, a week ago, you said you were going home for the new year, and I took you to the train station. What did you say then? You said, husband, wait for me, I'll be back soon. Now you're telling me you're getting engaged? An XIN, isn't this cheating? At the word cheating, an XIN exploded like a cat whose fur had been ruffled, shouting, Chinyu, why are you being so nasty? I said that to save your face. Do you know who my fiancé is? The heir of Hunley Group. How can a poor loser like you compare to him? The house he lives in costs hundreds of thousands per square meter. One meal he eats costs more than you earn in a year. Li Xiang showers me with Hermes and LV. Unlike you, who only gave me a 52,000 yuan red envelope for the new year, you cheapskate. I only regret being so stupid and not dumping you sooner. Otherwise, I would have married into a wealthy family and become a rich wife long ago, instead of suffering with you. Chinyu, we're adults. Just let me go, okay? With that, an XIN hung up. I gripped my phone, my chest heaving with anger, and XIN's words echoing in my mind. After a moment, I calmed down. Something wasn't right. Isn't my father the CEO of Hunley Group? I don't remember having any brothers or half-brothers. Could this person be my father's illegitimate child? I clicked on the photos and XIN sent, trying to find some clues. Wait a minute, the background of this photo. Isn't it the same as my vacant mansion? And this Li Xiang, he looks like he was molded from the same cast as my chauffeur. I think I've stumbled upon a secret. The rich guy Anshin snagged seems to be the son of my family chauffeur. To confirm this, I call my dad. Dad, where's Uncle Li's son working now? My dad thought for a moment. Do you mean General Manager Li at Warner's son? I think he's studying abroad in Germany. Why do you ask? Not him, the son of our driver. Where is he now? Only then did my dad understand. Oh, you mean him? Sigh, that kid's a disappointment. After graduating college, he never really held down a job. Old Lee begged me to find his son some work, so I sent him to a branch office. Why, you thinking of going there too? I hummed in agreement. My dad was overjoyed. He'd always wanted me to inherit the family business, but I was determined to make it on my own. I've been playing the role of a humble nobody for so long that people actually started to believe I was one. This time, I was going to take back what was rightfully mine. Still, I declined my dad's offer to join the company as a manager. opting instead to become a lowly team leader. It was a small position, but just enough to have some authority over Li Xiang. Before leaving, I made my dad promise to keep my identity a secret. So, apart from me, the general manager of the branch office, everyone else just assumed I was a fresh college graduate. On my first day, I ran into Li Xiang. He looked so much like Uncle Li, except Uncle Li was honest and simple, while Li Xiang had a cunning look about him. As soon as Li Xiang entered the office, he started handing out candy. "Everyone, this is my wedding candy. I'm getting married soon, and I hope you can all come." I smiled, took the candy, and casually asked, "Li, you're so young to be getting married. Your girlfriend must be very beautiful." Li Xiang scratched his head. "Not really that beautiful, but her family is quite well off, a good match for me." After chatting with Li Xiang a bit more, I learned that he was portraying himself as a rich second-generation heir at the company, while Anxin was playing the role of a wealthy heiress in front of Li Xiang. Li Xiang thought marrying Anxin would save him 20 years of hard work, and Anxin believed that marrying Li Xiang would make her a real rich girl. What a perfect match, like two peas in a pod. All I could say was they were made for each other. My girlfriend, although she's a rich heiress, is like me. We don't want to rely on our families. She's even urging me to help her find a job. At this point, my lips were twitching harder. I suppressed the urge to laugh at them and said, "Isn't our company hiring right now? You could give your girlfriend an internal referral. It's not like our company is against office romances. You two could even look out for each other." Li Xiang frowned, troubled. "My girlfriend said the same thing, but I'm not sure it's a good idea. What if our relationship affects the entire company?" "Give me a break. You're just an intern. What kind of influence could you possibly have? I think you're just afraid of Anxin finding out you're not a rich kid and your cover being blown." Despite what Li Xiang said, the very next day, I saw Anxin at the company. Anxin's education was a bit better than Li Xiang's. He had a vocational college degree, while Anxin at least had a full-time bachelor's degree. Although Anxin's qualifications only made her eligible for a receptionist position, with a little behind-the-scenes maneuvering on my part, she successfully joined the company. In the stairwell, I overheard Anxin's soft voice. "Honey, you're amazing. You actually got me into your family's company. You're so good to me." I coughed lightly, and a pair of lovebirds below looked up in annoyance. "Chenyu? Is that you? Group Leader Chun, you're here so early today, too." The voices of Li Xiang and an Xan rang out simultaneously, one filled with respect, the other with doubt. "What a coincidence. I just came out for a smoke. Didn't expect to see you here. You guys carry on. I won't disturb you." Before leaving, I overheard their conversation. "Honey, do you know Group Leader Chan?" "No, I don't. Didn't you say this was your family's company? Then why are you so subservient?" "Oh, I'm just hiding my identity. Honey, please don't let it slip. I don't want to be the center of attention." "Keep up the act. Just keep it up. Let's see how long you can keep this up." Although an XIN had joined the company, her main tasks were serving tea, delivering water, and photocopying forms. Recently, the company was negotiating new business for the next quarter, so it was particularly busy. And XIN hadn't had a moment to catch her breath since she started. Moreover, she had never suffered such grievances before. When we were dating, I practically put her on a pedestal. How could I bear to let her do these menial tasks? "Group Leader Chun, here are the documents you requested." An XIN placed a file on my desk, looked around to make sure no one was near, and whispered to me, "Chinyu, I didn't realize you were so shameless. You still come to the company to pester me after we broke up. I'm warning you, if you say anything wrong in front of Li Xiang, don't blame me for not reminding you." "Seriously, who's pestering who? I was here at this company first. Okay? Stop, don't go yet." I called out to an XIN in a deep voice, and her face instantly turned ugly. "Chinyu, are you deaf? How did you photocopy this document? Don't you know the difference between long edge binding and short edge binding? Go back and redo it. If you can't even do such a small thing, what's the use of you?" An XIN thought I was going to ask her to stay, but instead, she heard words of reprimand. She was instantly furious and rushed off with the documents. I watched as she found Li Xiang with red-rimmed eyes. Li Xiang was equally busy serving tea and delivering water, unable to spare any energy to comfort his little girlfriend. He simply said a few words and coaxed her back to the pantry. It was obvious that previously, when an XIN got angry, I had to apologize offer gifts, and transfer money, spending almost half a month to win back her forgiveness. I didn't expect Li Xiang to be able to coax her around with just a few words. It seems that the power of money is still very strong. An XIN, did you buy your degree? Such a simple form operation. I've taught you so many times. How come you still haven't learned it? The speaker was another group leader in the office, known for her decisive work style and slightly short temper. She pointed at the computer, lecturing an XIN beside her. I've taught you this function formula 4 times this morning, and you still haven't learned it. Are you stupid? Or are you just not putting your mind to work? An XIN was red-faced from the scolding, and facing the female group leader's aggressiveness, she slammed her hand on the table. Just because you know a few formulas, what gives you the right to talk to me like that? Do you know who I am? Believe it or not, I can have you fired right now. The female group leader sneered and retorted. I don't know. Who do you think you are? An XIN became even angrier, her body trembling as she shouted. I'm the fiancé of your company's young master, the future boss's wife. If you anger me, you won't have a good ending. Li Xiang tried to cover an XIN's mouth, but it was too late. Everyone had heard her call herself the future boss's wife. The female team leader paused for a moment, then said, even if you were the boss's wife now, you'd still get scolded for making mistakes. Besides, isn't your boyfriend Li Xiang? What kind of crown prince is he? Before the team leader could finish, Li Xiang interrupted her. He stepped forward abruptly and bowed deeply to her. I'm sorry, sister. My girlfriend just graduated and doesn't know how to speak properly. I'll definitely talk to her about it later. Please don't be angry. I apologize on her behalf. The team leader wasn't usually one to hold a grudge, and seeing Li Xiang apologize, she let the matter drop. An XIN was furious that Li Xiang hadn't stood up for her and had instead apologized so humbly to someone else. She grabbed Li Xiang's arm. Li Xiang, what do you mean? Didn't you say this company was your family's? Why are you, the supposed crown prince, apologizing to a mere team leader? Li Xiang quickly tried to silence an XIN. He glanced around, relieved that they hadn't attracted the attention of other colleagues. If you make a mistake, isn't it right to apologize? An XIN, if you keep acting up, I'm going to get angry. Hearing Li Xiang say this, an XIN stomped her foot and stormed out. Li Xiang's expression changed, and he was about to chase after her, but I stopped him. Li Xiang, if you go out now, it'll be considered skipping work. You'll lose your perfect attendance bonus for the month. Li Xiang gritted his teeth and stayed. However, for the rest of the time, he frantically called an XIN on his phone. It seemed like she wasn't answering. As soon as work ended, Li Xiang rushed out. I thought for a moment and turned on the villa security cameras. The wiring for these cameras was hidden, and apart from the homeowner, no one else had the right to view them. I guess that Li Xiang's family didn't even know the villa had cameras. Sure enough, in the villa's living room, an XIN and Li Xiang were arguing about something. I swiped my phone and turned on the camera's built-in audio recording. The content of their argument came through clearly. Li Xiang, is the CEO of Hungli Group really your father? Is the company really yours? Of course it is. If I wasn't a rich second generation, would I be able to live in such a big villa? Honey, I told you I just don't want to be too flashy. An XIN stared at Li Xiang suspiciously for a while, then looked around at the villa's decorations. Finally, she nodded and said, Okay, I'll believe you this time. By the way, you said you'd give me a house when we get married. Is this the one? This one is okay, although it's a bit small, but the location is good. When are you going to take me to transfer the ownership? An XIN looked at Li Xiang expectantly, while Li Xiang prevaricated vaguely, beads of cold sweat forming on his forehead. An XIN persisted, even throwing herself into his arms. I disgustedly moved the phone away and turned off the surveillance. It seemed that if I didn't take some action soon, this house wouldn't be mine anymore. Early the next morning, I arrived outside the villa. This house was a coming-of-age gift for my parents. They had also thoughtfully hired a housekeeper for me, but I found the house too ostentatious and had never lived in it. I knocked several times, but there was no answer. Reluctantly, I used the spare key to open the door. Inside the villa, Li Xiang's mother was sitting comfortably on the sofa, wearing a facial mask and watching TV. Seeing her like this, I couldn't help but sneer. She was treating my villa like her own home. Who are you? Why didn't you knock before entering? Zhao Xiaolan stood up and pointed at me, questioning. She hadn't met me before. When my mother was looking for a nanny, she interviewed several but found none suitable. It was Uncle Lee who recommended his wife, and my mother, out of respect for Uncle Lee, agreed. Who would have thought that I wouldn't want to live in the villa, and my mother couldn't bring herself to dismiss Annie Lee. So, Zhao Xilan ended up living in our villa, doing nothing, yet still receiving a monthly salary. Even the utility bills for the villa were paid by my parents. I was about to ask who you are and why you're in my house. I looked at Zhao Xilan coldly. She showed no sign of guilt for occupying someone else's property. Instead, she aggressively picked up the phone. I sat on the sofa, watching Zhao Xilan fuss. She tugged at me forcefully, trying to drag me out of the villa. Well, thieves these days are so bold, coming to steal while the owner is still at home. I'm 6'1" and weigh 80 kilograms. How could this thin woman possibly move me? Zhao Xiaolan's face turned red, but she couldn't budge me an inch. This was, after all, a high-end villa community. In no time, the property management arrived with the police. Zhao Xiaolan rushed over to them, as if they were her saviors. Officer, help! Zhao Xiaolan clung to the police, embellishing the story as she recounted it. Sure enough, the officers' faces immediately showed disdain. One of them stepped in front of me and sternly inquired, "Hello, please show me your identification." After confirming that my documents were in order, the police asked why I was here. Before I could answer, Zhao Xiaolan jumped in. "Officer, no need to ask. He's definitely here to steal. A young man in his 20s, he could be doing anything, but instead, he chooses to be a thief. And you're really stupid, coming during broad daylight. Aren't you just asking to be caught?" I stood before the police and asked, "Officer, do I need to report when I return to my own home?" The two officers exchanged glances, shock evident in their eyes. "Sir, are you saying this is your house?" I nodded, letting them investigate as they pleased. The police turned to Zhao Xiaolan, politely requesting, "Ma'am, could you please show us the property deed or other relevant documents?" Zhao Xiaolan, not being the owner, naturally couldn't produce any property deed. She burst out, "What property deed? I've lived here for so long. Everyone in the neighborhood knows me. That's the best proof of ownership." The police, annoyed by Zhao Xiaolan's unreasonable behavior, turned to the property management. Initially, the management was certain that Zhao Xiaolan was the owner, but seeing my confidence, they became unsure and quickly sent someone to check. I smirked, pulling out a red booklet. "Here, the property deed. It clearly states my name." Only then did Zhao Xiaolan panic. She lunged to snatch the deed from the officer's hand, but the officer wouldn't let her. After verifying my identity, the police and property management apologized to me. I waved my hand, indicating it was fine. Zhao Xiaolan forced a smile that looked more like a grimace, trying to appease me. "Xiaoyu, it's been so many years. You've grown so tall, I didn't even recognize you. You really should have told me you were coming." I looked at Zhao Xiaolan, raising an eyebrow. "Tell you? So you could destroy all the evidence?" "Ms. Zhao, if I remember correctly, you were just our nanny, but now you're wearing my mother's clothes, using my mother's face masks. You really think of yourself as the mistress of the house." Faced with my sarcasm, Zhao Xiaolan showed no embarrassment. Instead, she retorted vehemently, "Look at what you're saying. I saw these perfectly good things just sitting there and felt it would be a waste not to use them. I only used them to avoid waste. Besides, I've been a nanny in your house for so long. Shouldn't I be allowed to use at least a facial mask?" The probing gazes of the property management and the police shifted back and forth between Zhao Xiaolan and me. Although they didn't show it on their faces, they must have been inwardly cursing me, the employer, for being stingy. "All right, Ms. Zhao, since the police are here today, let's settle the accounts. My family hired you to take care of me for 4 years. My mother paid you a salary of 12,000 yuan per month, which amounts to over 500,000 yuan to date. But the problem is, in these 4 years, you haven't even seen me, let alone taken care of me. Can I assume that for the past 4 years, you haven't done any work but have been paid over 500,000 yuan by my family?" The onlookers, upon hearing my words, widened their eyes in disbelief. They probably hadn't imagined that such a sucker existed in the world. I may not have taken care of you, but I clean the villa every day. Such a big house. Hiring a house cleaner for 4 years would cost more than that. One of the property management staff couldn't help but speak up. Auntie, it seems like you're the only one living in this house, so shouldn't cleaning be part of your job? Zhao Xilan, upon hearing someone challenge her, immediately puffed up her chest and started arguing with the person. This isn't my house. Why should I clean it? Since they hired me, they have to pay me. What a robber's logic. In that case, I didn't bother to waste any more words with Zhao Xilan. I took out my phone and gestured for the police to come over. Officer, I'm reporting a crime. I suspect Ms. Zhao has stolen items from the villa. Although I haven't lived here, my parents have spared no effort to build a house to my liking. There's a model room on the 3rd floor, filled with all kinds of figurines. After Zhao Xilan discovered that these figurines could also be sold for money, she emptied the room within a few days. I love Lego, and my mom prepared many sets for me in my bedroom. But now my bedroom is occupied by Li Xiang, and those Lego sets are long gone. I just roughly calculated my financial losses with the police, and Zhao Xilan became anxious. When did I steal anything? Which I of yours saw me stealing? This is slander, a defamation of my character. The police officer nodded and said, Sir, do you have any evidence? Zhao Xilan crossed her arms and looked at me disdainfully. I curled my lips slightly and said, There are surveillance cameras in this house, right? Young man from property management? The property management staff quickly nodded, and Zhao Xilan's face instantly changed. I happened to be able to view the surveillance on my phone. Ms. Zhao, would you like to admire your heroic act of stealing? With that, I played the video. It showed Zhao Xilan swaggering into the model room with a large woven bag, casually sweeping all the figurines from the tables and cabinets into it. The evidence was conclusive, and Zhao Xilan couldn't deny it no matter how hard she tried. Unexpectedly, Zhao Xilan knelt down before me with a thud. Xiaoyu, I was wrong. I was out of my mind to do such a thing. Please, don't send me to prison. I still have a son to raise. Xiaoyu, please forgive me. As she spoke, she kowtowed heavily. The police, however, paid no attention to Zhao Xilan's actions, pulled her up, handcuffed her, and let her out. Just as they were about to push Zhao Xilan into the police car, a voice rang out. Who are you? What are you doing to my mother? A furious roar startled the police officers who were carrying out their duties. Li Xiang rushed forward, pulling aside the officer blocking the door, attempting to drag his mother out of the police car. Sir, please do not interfere with our official duties. Seeing the scuffle, I quietly retreated back into the house and closed the door. I was supposed to go with the police to give a statement, but revealing my identity now would spoil the fun of the game. I didn't want to miss this drama, so I turned on the surveillance camera at the door and watched intently. Li Xiang grabbed a police officer by the collar, demanding angrily, What crime did my mother commit? Why are you arresting her? The officer patiently explained the whole situation. Before Li Xiang could react, and Xin couldn't contain herself any longer. You must have made a mistake. This entire villa belongs to their family. How could Annie be stealing? This house does not belong to Ms. Zhao. She's only the housekeeper here, so her actions constitute a crime. Our arrest is justified. With that, the police drove away. And Xin, as if struck by lightning, questioned Li Xiang in a daze about what was going on. Li Xiang, still trying to deceive her, stammered, Honey, actually, that woman isn't really my mom. She's our family's housekeeper. Because she raised me since I was little, we have a deep bond, so I call her Mom. This house isn't hers, but it's mine. I couldn't help but laugh. Only a fool would believe such nonsense. But unexpectedly, an Xin smiled softly and said, Honey, I believe you. Li Xiang seemed surprised that an Xin actually believed his lies, momentarily overjoyed. However, an Xin's next word stunned him. Honey, since you said this house is yours, then take me to transfer the ownership right now. Li Xiang's expression froze. He opened his mouth, trying to continue fooling an Xin. The next second, a crisp smack echoed on Li Xiang's cheek. Ugh, you loser, daring to pretend to be a rich second generation to fool me. Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau right now to get a divorce. I won't marry you with no money and no house. Wow, so these two were already married. Li Xiang stopped pretending at this point. He glared at an Xin menacingly and said, So what if I'm not a rich second generation? Aren't you a rich and beautiful woman? Tell your dad to add more to the dowry for me. We can still live a good life with your money. What kind of rich and beautiful woman was an ex-Cyan? When they were dating, she had a hand over most of her salary to her family. She would come to me shamelessly when she had no money for food. Her first time eating Western food, her first time staying in a five-star hotel, her first time having a beauty treatment. I took her to all of them. Even all her designer clothes and cosmetics were gifts from me. An ex-In refused to admit she wasn't a rich and beautiful woman, but she also refused to agree to Li Xiang's unreasonable demands. She crossed her arms and spat at Li Xiang. Ugh! Li Xiang touched the spit on his face in disbelief. He raised his fist and brought it down hard on an ex-Cyan's face. Soon, the two were engaged in a brawl. If I hadn't called the security guards, an ex-Cyan might have been beaten to death by Li Xiang. The next day, Li Xiang didn't come to work. He was busy dealing with his mother's mess. As for an ex-Cyan, the bruises on her face attracted a lot of attention. I just fell off my bike. It's nothing serious. Huh. An ex-Cyan, didn't you say your family provided you with a BMW 4 Series? Why are you still riding a bike? Even now, an ex-Cyan is still putting up a front. Little does she know, the fight she had with Li Xiang was recorded by a helpful netizen and posted online. Now, many people in the company are laughing at the two of them. It's no wonder everyone is laughing at her. An ex-In had cultivated such an outstanding persona in the company. When colleagues offered to buy milk tea and asked her what she wanted, she would always smile faintly and say, "I'm sorry, I only drink milk tea freshly brewed by my nanny." When colleagues went out for dinner after work and asked if she wanted to join, she would put on her sunglasses and say, "Oh my God, can you even eat Japanese food that costs only 1 or 200 per person? I'm going with my boyfriend to that place that costs 3,000 per person. Their sashimi is flown in from Japan." When colleagues discussed housing prices, she would say disdainfully, "You call something that costs tens of thousands per square meter a house? My boyfriend's house costs hundreds of thousands per square meter, and it has a huge garden." Later, everyone in the branch office knew that an ex-In was a rich, beautiful woman, and her boyfriend, Li Xiang, was also a super-rich second generation. Many colleagues were already annoyed by their behavior and mocked them both openly and secretly. Now that they had caught an ex-In in a compromising situation, their sarcasm became even more blatant. After a whole morning, an ex-In's expression never looked good. In the pantry, an ex-In ran into me. I silently poured myself a coffee, and she spoke first. "Chinyu, you must be very happy to see me like this. But let me tell you, even if Li Xiang lied to me, so what? At least Li Xiang bought me a lot of bags and jewelry, which is much better than you." I didn't want to bother with her, but seeing her infuriating attitude, I couldn't help but speak. "Is it possible that all the things Li Xiang gave you are fake? For example, the bag you're carrying today, the fake is too obvious. Last year, this brand had a similar style, but not this color. This year, they have this color, but not this style. I really don't know which counter Li Xiang bought it from for you." An ex-Cyan's originally smug expression instantly turned sour. "What do you know? Li Xiang brought this back from abroad for me. Were you pretending to know, you bumpkin?" I picked up my coffee, took a slow sip, and said, "I don't know much about fashion, but I am familiar with this brand. My mother is the brand's agent for the Greater China region. She's in charge of all their products in the country." An ex-In looked at me like I was an idiot and said disdainfully, "Chunyu, you're just like Li Xiang, starting to pretend to be a rich second generation. Stop pretending. It's embarrassing when you get exposed." I was speechless. An ex-In treated a fake rich second generation like a treasure, but she questioned me, the real rich second generation. "Chinyu, I remember you told me your dad was a coal miner." A thought struck me. When I was dating her, I deliberately concealed my identity to avoid scaring her away. When she asked me what my parents did, I told her my dad was a coal miner. So the reason an ex-In looked down on me was something I gave her myself. But I wasn't wrong. My dad did start out in coal mining, but the whole mine was his. I chuckled softly and said, "Believe it or not, it doesn't matter. We have no relationship anyway." Suddenly, there was a commotion outside, and a stern-looking middle-aged man pulled open the pantry door. An ex-In's eyes lit up, and she rushed to the man, saying, "Manager Yi, would you like something to drink? Tea or coffee? I'll make it for you." Manager Yi nodded towards an ex-In as a greeting. He looked directly at me and bowed slightly. General Manager Chun, it's time for the meeting. And Xian's expression was more unpleasant than if she had swallowed a fly. She pointed at me with a trembling hand and asked, Manager Yi, what are you saying? Manager Yi looked at an Xian, puzzled, and asked, Who are you? The new cleaning girl? How is that possible? I'm an Xian. Manager Yi, I'm Li Xiang's girlfriend, specially recruited into our company. Only when Manager Yi heard Li Xiang's name did he push up his glasses and say, Ah, you mean Li Xiang? Isn't he the son of General Manager Chen's chauffeur? And Xian shook her head, muttering impossible under her breath. Seeing her like this, I smiled slightly and left with Manager Yi. The main reason for this meeting was that I had just closed a big deal a few days ago. After achieving some success, I planned to reveal my identity. When my colleagues heard that I was the boss's son, their jaws dropped. In the break room, everyone was chatting about this. The boss's son is so approachable. I can't imagine how I would flaunt it if it were me. It's hilarious. Someone was showing off their rich second-generation status every day, not knowing the real rich second generation was right beside them. If I were those two, I wouldn't have the face to come to the company. Amidst the jokes of the crowd, and Xian's face in the corner grew paler and paler. Finally, she couldn't help but shout, What do you know? I'm Chen Yu's ex-girlfriend. He even came to pester me after we broke up. If I just give him a smile, he will definitely want to get back together with me. A female colleague retorted, Then go ahead, see if General Manager Chun will take you back. Just then I pushed open the door. And Xian bit her lip and walked up to me. Chen Yu, I know you still like me, but this is all your fault. If you had told me earlier that the boss of Hung Li was your father, we wouldn't have broken up. If you apologized to me, I might reluctantly agree to get back together with you. Everyone was stunned by this shameless statement, but they were more concerned about how I would respond. I maintained my door-opening posture and asked sincerely, Do I look like an idiot to you? I dated you for 2 years and spent hundreds of thousands on you, only for you to turn around and dump me for a rich second generation. Now that you've found out the rich second generation is fake, you want to come back to me? What kind of sickness would I have to have in my brain to agree to that? By the way, just a reminder, after investigation, Li Xiang needs to compensate me over 800,000 yuan. As his wife, you should share the debt, right? Li Xiang is about to go to jail, so you should think of a way to pay him back. And Xian was dumbfounded. Soon, HR came over and politely informed her that she was fired. And Xian had no choice but to gather her few belongings and leave in a daze. Looking at her retreating figure, she really did look like a lost dog. Having dealt with an Xian, it was time to see Li Xiang. In the detention center, Li Xiang became agitated as soon as he saw me. If the prison guard hadn't been holding him back, I was really afraid he would smash his head against the glass. Chen Yu, I treated you like a good brother, and this is how you repay me? I twisted my neck and retorted, Treat me like a good buddy? Living in my room, hooking up with my girl, and selling all my Legos. Is that how you treat a good buddy? Looks like you go through friends pretty fast. Chen Yu swallowed hard and begged, I'm sorry, young master, I was just being foolish. I thought you had so many houses, you wouldn't notice if I lived in one. I was wrong, young master, I really was. I'll pay you back, just please don't send me to jail. I shook my head and said coldly, Even if you begged me on your knees, it wouldn't do any good. You have to pay back the money, and you're still going to jail. Bad people have to face the consequences for their wrongdoings. Otherwise, how can a good person like me have peace of mind? With that, I pressed the phone and was about to leave. Unexpectedly, Li Xiang, on the other side, knelt down towards me as if he had lost his mind, kowtowing nonstop. No matter how the prison guards tried to stop him, he wouldn't budge. He was still howling something, but I had already put down the receiver, so I couldn't hear anything. But I guess it was probably pleas for mercy. I heard from my parents that Uncle Li went every day to beg for his wife and child, hoping I would let them off. My parents got so annoyed with him that they eventually instructed security guards not to let him in anymore. Actually, our family had been generous to Uncle Li and Zhao Xilan. Their salaries were already quite high for their positions, and my parents would also give them red envelopes and gifts during holidays. But they were never satisfied and even set their sights on a house. Zhao Xilan was sentenced to 3 years and 6 months for theft, and although Li Xiang hadn't been sentenced yet, it was estimated to be similar to his mother's. The The court ordered the Lee family to return all the embezzled property, but the money was long gone. Where'd they get that kind of money? The reason the Lee family hadn't saved a penny over the years was that Uncle Lee loved to gamble, and any money he had went straight to the gambling table. He himself was also burdened with huge debts and was completely unable to repay them. Somehow, the debt collectors heard about all this and actually went to an ex-IN claiming that the debts signed by the father-in-law should be repaid by the daughter-in-law. When an ex-IN refused, these people went to her home and workplace to make trouble. Eventually, an ex-IN lost her job and had to take on odd jobs to make ends meet. A long time later, when I had almost forgotten about an ex-IN, a familiar voice called out to me. I turned around and saw a cleaning lady dressed in tattered, dirty clothes. Seeing my confusion, the lady took off her headscarf and said with a look of surprise, "Chin-Yu, it's me, an ex-IN." It was indeed an ex-IN, but from her appearance, she looked at least 20 years older than her actual age. An ex-IN was about to say something when a beautiful woman linked her arm through mine and said sweetly, "Honey, do you know this lady?" I stroked the head of my young wife and said lightly, "No, she's mistaken. Didn't want to buy a Louis Vuitton bag? Today, I'll let you buy as many as you want." Amidst my wife's repeated exclamations of, "You're so good," we slowly walked away. When I had gone a bit further and looked back, an ex-IN was still standing there, dazed. I sighed. If only she had known this day would come, would she have acted as she did back then?